Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Monday, July 14th, Bastille Day, for those of you who celebrate. 2025. It's Bastille Day, right? July 14th? Yeah, I think that's where we're at. Today, I don't have any packages to unbox. I did get packages today, mainly because my daughter wanted to go to the UPS store after her running practice this morning. Which is where our P.O. box is, and she wanted to pet the dog that's there. And I did have a package, but it was something for myself. I bought myself shirts, like a collared shirt. Sometimes when I go on trips, I don't need to get dressed up, but sometimes when I go on trips, they're like, we're going to go out to dinner, so if you want to dress nice, you can. You don't have to. I feel like showing up in like a perforated mesh technical tee that's made out of polyester isn't always great. And I got rid of all my work shirts like 5 years ago. So I bought some more shirts. They're short sleeve button-up shirts. I like them, but not something that really needs to be unboxed on the channel. You'll probably see them the next time I have to travel somewhere, which I don't think will be soon. Actually, it's like 3 weeks when I go to Detroit. Anyway, today I have an update on a 5K I race. I've been telling you guys how I don't have a phobia of 5K racing, but I just don't like it an unreasonable amount. I'm averse to it. So I'm just trying to do it a bunch. So I did run a 5K over the weekend. And I did try some of the new carbs and also the Carbs brand carbs and also Precision Fuel. So I'll give you an update on that. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio only version on the podcast. Hopefully your workout went well. And now the cool down is nice and relaxing, especially since you've got the Cozy Run Club in your ear. And for everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to the #1 rated internet. Wait, how do I say it? Man, it's such a bad catchphrase because I can't even remember how to say it anytime. It's the #1 drive time running show, radio show for runners. Drive time radio show for runners. It's either meant for driving or on the radio. But you guys are here, and I appreciate you guys. All right. Matthias Venta says, what was the temperature during the 5K? The cool down, the warm up. On the warm up, where I did get to meet some alpine runners out of Lake Zurich, very nice people. They said hi to me and they joined me for the warm up. It was cool almost. It was, I think temperatures were in the high 60s with low humidity and cloud cover. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a great day for racing. And then basically once I started doing drills and warming up, like the clouds got cooked off by the sun and it started getting a little bit warm. It was in the low 70s, I think, by the time the race finished, but cooler than last year by a lot and a very manageable temperature for summer racing. So I was very happy about that. Simon Horn says he's got a shoe question. He says, my father, 68 years old, needs new marathon shoes. Last marathons were Super Blast 2. He's a heel striker. What would be your recommendation besides Super Blast 2? Thanks from Germany. I feel like the Neo Vista 1 could be a good choice. If you want something firmer, the SC Trainer could also be a lot of fun. So those are ones that kind of come to mind. And when you mention heel striker, the regular Glycerin 22 also could be a really good choice, depending on how hard he's stomping on that heel. But those are some options that I would take a look at. Casey Neistat ran his sub 3 in New York in Glycerin 22s. I previously thought it was Glycerin Maxes, but it was Glycerin. I've been corrected, and it was Glycerin 22s on that. Yeah. Brian Lang said, this is the #1 podcast to listen to in Normatex. I do not think that we can claim that at all. I think there are a lot of podcasts that get listened to while you're in Normatex. I would love to be the #1 podcast to listen to in Normatex. Are Normatex owned by Hyperice, or is that a different company? Hyperice. I can't. There's been some acquisitions in that space. I don't know. You guys have to let me know. Sean Devlin says, the older I get, the more unnatural a 5K is. It feels like hell. It sure does. And so to kind of get over this aversion, I've been doing two things. One, I've been just signing up for a bunch of 5Ks. Well, one was going to and I didn't. The Stars and Stripes 5K in Huntley, I think it was. I saw footage of that race. It was huge because it's a 5K, 10K, and half marathon. And it looked like it was a lot of fun. I regret that I didn't go. And then I signed up for another 5K in Dubuque but I went on the wrong day. So that was a big fail on my user error on this end. And then I signed up for this 5K, which is my local 5K, and this is my third time doing the race. But I didn't sign up until the morning of. And so like I was on the fence. I had given myself so many outs, but I was like, nope, we're going to run 5Ks. The other thing I've been doing 5K threshold workouts. So like 5Ks at threshold pace, just to be like, we're going to hurt for this long or this distance, no matter what. How fast and how much are we going to hurt may change depending on if it's a race or a workout. But I'm using like exposure or overexposure kind of technique. And I'm just going to keep doing it until it's just no big deal, you know, because otherwise it's hard and I don't feel like doing it, you know. Adam is tapering for Masters Nationals in Huntsville, Alabama, from Colorado, where there's more too, but more humidity. Friday is the 2,000 steeple, and Saturday is the 10K road, and Sunday is the 1,500, which will be icing on the cake. Well, good luck. Ooh, that's going to be fun, but that's going to be so humid. I've never been in Alabama before. I'm trying to think, have I? No, I don't think I've been in Alabama before. But it's going to be hot, dude. But those races are all short. So it'll be hot, but you'll survive. I think you're going to have fun on the steeple. I wish I were joining you. Are we in different age groups for the steeple? Cause I think I'm still doing a 3,000 steeple, but, if I were to have competed, but I don't know, maybe next year is the year. My daughter has been dogging me. She's giving me such a hard time about, how I haven't signed up for a track meet this summer, even though I said I would. So I kind of have to do that, but it might take till next summer. Cause she's like, I'm faster than you, Dad. I'm like, I'm not sure, maybe, but probably. She's like, well, you have to run a race so we can find out. And so I've been thinking I might just hop into, I have been keeping my eye open for like all comers meets in the area, like local ones. A lot of the local ones are like, not that there's a lot, but the local ones are like drop a $5 per event. And you could do up to 3 events or 2 events and 3 if one is field, you know, those kinds of meets. And I've been thinking about trying to do one, just the timing hasn't really worked out. Yeah, I think I need to do an 800 and a mile, just to kind of at least put my stamp on it. What's my PR, and to see if my daughter's faster, which she probably is, even though she's 13 years old. Yeah, but I did show her, so my 5K race, I came in at 19:36 chip time, and that's like a 6:19, I think, average pace. Feeling pretty good about it. I felt like I didn't race it like an idiot this year, and so I ran a faster time than last year, and I felt good about it. I felt good about my performance. I held back on the first mile, held on for the second mile, and then had something left to push for the third mile. Not a lot, but I pushed, and it ended up basically even splitting the whole way, so I felt good about it. And I did show my daughter my reel that I made where I called out like the mile splits, and my 2-mile split was 12:33, and at her age for cross country, which is on grassy, hilly routes, but even on one meet she went to, this big invitational that's super flat, my 2-mile is still faster than her 2-mile. So she's like, that's going to be my goal. I'm going to beat you this year. So I guess I'm still faster than her at some distances. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Alex says, with those 5Ks, you're making me want to run a hard 5K now. Alex, you know what you should do? You should come out to Tommy's event, Detroit Classic, first week of August. I'm going to be there. If you want, you can crash in my hotel room. And it's a 5,000 on the track. 5,000 on the track, I feel like, is a whole different level of pain. But if you want to come out and do a 5 hard K, it's in a couple weeks. So, yeah. Karen Pearson says, did Casey not use the Glycerin Max for New York? I could have sworn that he used the Glycerin Max. But he's talked about how he used the glycerin, and then I had a conversation with a couple other industry people, not at Brooks, but I guess I could ask someone at Brooks. They would probably know, because I'm not going to get an answer from Casey Neistat, but maybe I'll ask someone at Brooks if they can confirm. My meniscus hurt says, I saw that Bandit has a new training app. So this training app, is that out yet? I don't know if it's been out, but I remember hearing about this like 2 years ago, and I think I wasn't supposed to share it yet. But they were talking about how they were working on an app that was going to incorporate AI as part of a training plan, and I was like, okay, interesting. And so I don't know if that's still the case or how it's working out. Let's see. Someone else said something about the 5K. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure if anyone else said anything about it, but I don't know if anyone else has any knowledge about it, but I don't know anything about it, and I didn't know if it was out already. I knew they were doing training, offering training for people like, not that all their members, but like you could sign up to be part of the training group for like New York Marathon, for example, and you would get like discounts on apparel, some group runs, coaching and stuff. So I don't know if that was the app too, or that was kind of them like data gathering or what, but it's an interesting idea to see an apparel brand expand into training apps. I think that's kind of interesting. And Alex says to my invitation, you know what? Yes. All right, let's do it. All right, we did it, guys. We're gonna be at the Detroit. It's called the Detroit Classic. And we're going to show up. We're going to be in there. I think it's like an afternoon long event. It's just like heat after heat after heat, 5,000s. And then there's a pro or semi-pro 800 meter race as kind of like the headliner for the evening. So it should be fun. CV76 says, Alex and Kavuz, you're going to be sharing a queen size hotel bed. I don't know what size bed I got. So we'll see. Yeah. All right. Patrick says the Bandit program app is out, similar to last year, but it's been rebranded a bit. Now with more Bandit logos. What's the rebranding? I should probably take a look at that. See how it is. And then what was the other one that I saw in other running app news? So the UK has so many running apps right now. So there's Runna. Then there has been Coupa, which has been another running plan. I don't think that they have a presence in the United States. I've only heard British people talk about Coupa. And now there's URun. And the two main like celebrity spokespeople for URun are Mo Farah and Charlie Purdue. So it's been like the two of them I've seen so far. And I want to say, I thought I saw there was a physical URun space. I don't know what's in it. Does anyone have info on that? Did anyone go? Yeah, but so there's that. And now there's the Bandit app too. Cool. And Patrick says, Bandit Pacer here. The program is the app, and it's powered by AI. If you're in New York City, you can join group runs. If you're not in New York City, you can just follow the training plan in app. Last year was called Run. Okay. There we go. Thanks, Patrick. Awesome. And so going back to, now let's switch back gears to Masters steeple. Adam says, at age 60, men drop to the 2,030 inches. So the barrier gets lower and the race gets a little bit shorter. So if I want to get in there, so I guess if I do another steeple, I'd still have to do the 3,000. Man, that steeple was so hard because I ran it like a moron too. My first mile was definitely, I think my first mile was right at 6 even, which isn't terrible, but probably wasn't a great idea for me. Yeah, because then the second one was way slower. So yeah. Yeah. All right, Andrew Scott says, what are we wearing now that it's really hot and humid? Any recs for wicking singlets? I've been embracing Alex's shirtless philosophy from time to time when my Tracksmith Twilight gear gets clingy. So there's two schools of thought on apparel. I've also been just going shirtless most of the time. Today I ran in a singlet because it was a little bit cooler, but I kind of regretted it. And I could have done without it. I'm going to run a double this afternoon, and this afternoon I'm not going to wear a shirt just because it's hot. It's hot enough. It's that point of the summer where like you don't have to look at the temperature. If you were comfortable going without a shirt, just go without a shirt. It's better. But for singlets, like when I'm racing, I think there's a couple ways to do it. One is to get like a light and airy one. That's usually my favorite. Like I like it when you're watching like race footage and you could see like, because of the speed of the runner and not because of the wind, it's like fluttering in the wind. That's what I like to see. That's the kind of singlet that I like. And so like the Asics one is one of my favorites. The Nike like Aero Swift, that singlet. It's like giant holes, very minimal. It's like it's not a loose cut, but it's a kind of more of an athletic cut. Same with the Active Breeze from Asics. Those two are my favorites. And then there's like the soar philosophy, which is it does cling to you, and that's how it cools you down, because then it soaks up all your sweat, sticks to you, and then that dissipates, kind of like an arm sleeve. It dissipates the heat that way. I feel like those don't work if you're in a very humid place. The soar one, it just gets wet and clingy, and it doesn't feel like it's cooling me off. So that's why, maybe it's because we have humidity here. I prefer the ones that are like light and airy if I can't go shirtless. My meniscus hurt said, sorry to hear someone passed away doing what they loved at Hardrock. Yeah, that was the bummer news. I guess to understate the obvious there. I had not been following too much Hardrock news, and that was like the first major thing that I had heard, and I was shocked about it. Yeah. I mean, ultra running is a dangerous sport, and it's very sad to see someone. I mean, it's not like it was like, yeah, some dude wanted to be like, I ran Hardrock without even training, and then like, had hypothermia because he didn't pack enough stuff and then died or whatever. It wasn't like that kind of situation where someone was flaunting the rules that are designed for safety. This is someone that had a lot of experience running many ultra marathons, and clearly it was a passion for that person. And it's very sad to see that they fell along one of the ridge lines, I think. And it was fatal. This is a bummer. It was definitely a bummer. Yeah, Richard Wilson says, some local news channels had some super dumb comments and anti-vax stuff. Yeah, even some of the stuff on social media that was out there was predictably callous and inappropriate. Right under like the death announcement from Hardrock, It's just one of those things where it's like, this is why we can't have nice things, I guess. Stephen C says, if I went without a shirt around here, people think I was insane. And Stephen C is in Yorkshire, England. I definitely think that there's some very strong cultural differences in terms of even men going topless while running. And so that's why I'm like, if you live in a place where that's acceptable, I would recommend it. I like it a lot. It's not really feasible in a lot of places, culturally. Kieran Pearson says, I don't know about everyone else, but I personally love it when my clothes get all sweaty on a run, as it makes me feel like I've done a really good and hard effort. I was thinking about that today because I was thinking about like what reel I was going to make today. And since I did wear a shirt and I got very sweaty, I was going to do the thing where we wring out the shirt of all the sweat, because it was a lot. But like that's a trend that died like a couple of years ago, and I feel like everyone's pretty glad that trend died. So I'm not going to try and bring it back. But yeah, I know what you mean. But like on the other hand, I would have rather been a couple of degrees cooler. I think the humidity has to do with a lot of it. If it were a drier heat, you know what I mean? Like if I was somewhere like at elevation, perhaps, I think that I might still do a shirt, because then it would draw the moisture out as it like touched as the sweat touched the material, it would start to spread and wick. And if the air is drier than me, the moisture would then get pulled into the dry air. It doesn't happen here. So it's just, for me, better to not have a shirt, I guess. And Ducci knows says, how do you know she fell off a ridgeline? I haven't heard any news about that. I don't know that it was a ridgeline per se, but they mentioned that it was a fall. It was in one of the official statements from Hardrock, the race. I could be wrong on that. I mean, again, I'm not sure it was originally, but it was a fall of a significant distance. I'm assuming it was either a ridgeline or a ledge. But I don't know. Daniel Burton said, I thought it was a hard hat. I thought it was a fall. I mean, I could be wrong, and I'm happy to hear more. I'm not trying to spread rumors or the wrong information, but I thought it was a fall. Brian Lang says, going back to shirts and running without a shirt, the good thing about not having a shirt is there's no need for nipple tape. You know, so I've been following this one ultra runner lately. He's been in my feed just a bunch. And he's been running all summer long with no shirt, but a hydration vest on. And I'm just like, I've tried that before. And that was, I don't normally get nipple chafing when I'm running. But running with no shirt and a vest, there was just a lot going on. And that was really hard. All right. Vanessa says Elaine S. died of a heart attack. Was there someone else who fell? Maybe that's what led to the fall. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm not sure. I'll look into it, and we can. I mean, but I'm sure you guys are right. Alex says that no shirt with a vest is wild. I mean, that's the only thing I don't like about vests, is because not only do you have to wear the vest, and when you've got it on, it puts a lot of non-breathable materials right onto your upper body, which is a very great source for dissipating heat. But you also have to then not only wear a singlet, but you have to wear like a shirt with a bit more of a collar, because a lot of times the pack will chafe your neck. At least it does for me, if I just try to wear like a singlet underneath for nipple protection reasons. And so, yeah, it just ends up you having to wear a lot more stuff. That's what I don't love about vests. I love the volume that you can carry. You can carry like a liter and a half, 2 liters of fluid at a time just in the back. And then you can load bottles in the front if you wanted to, but it's just, you're paying for a lot of that in heat. For a while, I went down this rabbit hole of trying to find waist packs. I wanted to find a waist pack that had a water reservoir so that I could still run fast, but have the top of my body a little bit more unencumbered. And I know Ben Johnson runs like that sometimes. And he said he got it's a mountain biker's pack. And so, but it's not really meant for running. And I'm like, can you run fast in it? He goes, no, it's kind of hard to run fast in it. Yeah. Frank says the neck chafing is the worst. Oh, when you get the neck chafing, when it heals, it itches. Every shirt you wear kind of tickles it. It's just so hard. Oh, and does vest in GB mean singlet? Yeah, I'm not talking about a gilet. I'm talking about a hydration pack. I think everyone kind of understood, though, hopefully. Richard Wilson says, my stepfather died of a heart attack in 1981, and to this day there are people in our small town who tell me he died falling off a roof. Yeah, sorry to hear about your dad, but I understand what you're saying. Alex says he's been doing the naked belt and it's been fantastic. Yeah, I love, like, I've never tried the naked belt. Every time I try to buy it, I'm like, it's so specific. You have to like tell it, like, you have to like measure your waist for it. And I'm like, this is a lot of work. And then I've only been able to like find it available like by Amazon and want to buy it there. I was like going to try to, but then the sizes I wanted weren't there. But like flip belts, I love flip belts. There's a lot of running pants that have basically flip belts built into them, and that works out well too. Especially if you're running not super fast, then, I mean, even if you're running fast, I feel like a flip belt can work well if you have the right water bottle in there. But this summer, I've just been doing the handheld, and I've been planning on my runs that way, like every 4 or 5 miles, I can just stop by the car and get another handheld. So that's what I've been doing this year. My meniscus hurt says, instead of carrying the 1.5 liter pack, you can fill that area with ice to keep cool. I've thought about that too. Just putting a giant bag of ice back there. But usually what I do is I'll fill my hydration vest with ice and then my hydration mix, and then it'll just start melting, and then I'll drink what melts too. So I guess that's kind of what I've been doing. Adam says, what do you think of a thing finishing last at Bree and then 6th last weekend at Sunset Tour? Yeah, I didn't watch either of those track meets. I don't know. I've just not been super into track meets this summer. I don't know what it is. I just think it's hard with the summertime. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I haven't been as closely following a lot of stuff. But I don't know. I feel like I guess I could armchair quarterback a little bit, but it seems there's like a lot of kind of like mental stuff going on. Like a pitcher that can't throw a strike all of a sudden. Or I don't know if there's an injury or what, but it's hard because it just invites speculation because I don't know if it's her mentality as well, but her coach's mentality is certainly to keep everyone as far away as possible and have as little contact with media as possible, which I always feel like is kind of a red flag. I know there's a lot of coaches that feel that way. So it's not a clear red flag, but it always is kind of like, why is this coach so strict in this sense? So I don't know. Hopefully she gets it sorted out. I mean, she's still so young. She says, I think she's still got time, Daniel Brent says, I think a thing is hurt. I mean, she's been battling injuries, and I forget what her name is. I think it's an Irish name. It's like she runs for Stanford, and I think she runs 800 meters there. She was really fast in high school. She, Roisin Willis too. Like she had to kind of reset a little bit, right? Is it Willis? What's her last name? I forget her last name. But I was watching our post-race interview after she ran at her conference meet. She won the conference title, I think it was. Or maybe it was at NCAA's. And she talked about how she had to kind of reset quite a bit. Reset some expectations, and now she's just kind of back in form. But I don't know, maybe it's a similar kind of transitional process that they're all going through. I don't know. But, I'd love to just know more. It's hard when I get it. They have to, so much of running at that level is mental, and you have to protect your mental space. But at the same time, it's at a time where we're all kind of trying to figure out ways to make track more accessible to people and more exciting as a spectator sport when there's athletes and or coaches that are refusing to participate in one side of professional sports. Brian Lang says he needs those cycling style bibs and singlets where they have pockets they could just stuff ice down. I am frequently jealous of cyclists and like the difference in their sport in terms of what bounces around and what doesn't, in terms of what that allows for storage and fueling options. It's so different than what running has available to it. And so I'm so jealous of it. Like the shirts with the 3 pockets in the back where you could just reach back there. You could have candy in there. You could have a sandwich in there. And you could ride and eat your sandwich and keep going. And then you've got a bottle on your down tube. You know, I just think there's a lot of, or you could have them 2, like the ones when there's like 2 bottles under your butt. Like I think that one looks great. It looks like you got rocket boosters down there. And I guess you kind of do because it's full of sugar. I'm so jealous of cyclists. And what they're able to do in terms of nutrition. But like, it's hard for runners to kind of carry certain kinds of nutrition because we're like running and eating at the same time. So we can really eat like a sandwich while we were along. I mean, I guess some trail runners could. And I think if I ever do another, like trail ultra, yeah, I'm definitely going to be like packing burritos in my bottle pockets and just be eating like bean burritos as I'm like watching the sunset, you know. That's like high on the list of things I want to do. But you know, when you watch like Tour de France, like they're hammering and able to take a sip, you know. I think that I'm quite envious. Andrew Scott says, LOL, is that a pastrami on rye? Vegan pastrami on rye, by the way. You know, I will tell you though, that the Reuben sandwich is a sandwich that I, to this day, still really miss. And I do eat meat from time to time, especially when I'm traveling, you know, but I'm generally pescatarian. And I really miss Reuben's. I've been to a couple of places that have had a noteworthy vegetarian Reuben, but it just doesn't hit the same spot. Like all my favorite flavors are in the Reuben. It's just so nice. I miss those sandwiches. Frank says, at least we do better than distance swimmers. What does a channel swimmer do for hydration? Do they swim? Do they like lay down on their backs or like float and eat? I know they're drinking bottles, right? No, that's got to be hard too. Yeah. Sean says, you know, we just need some small European cars to follow us around, handing us bottles on our runs. Dude, that was like the most fun, not the most fun. It was a very interesting and enjoyable quirk of when I was in Kenya. Cause like, anytime we ran somewhere, there was a van following along. And if you got tired, you could be in the van if you wanted. But, there was someone that could hand out bottles, carry nutrition for you. And if it wasn't a van, it was a dude on a little moped. And when you were done, you just were like, I'm done. And they'd give you a ride back to the van or back to town. That was really nice. I really like that. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe there's like I mean, if anyone's going to make that app, let me know. I'll put 5 in on that. It's like Uber, but for car pacers or bike pacers. There we go. I feel like that's something we need. Right? I would sign up for that. Like if there's a cyclist, well, I guess like me running, it'd be really slow and boring for a cyclist. But I feel like maybe there's a way we could like, everyone could get a workout in. You know, they just need 2.5 hours, 2 hours easy on the bike. That's actually probably still, the bike's probably too fast for me. But anyway, I just think that would be nice. We could have a way where maybe even like a pay it forward system. Doesn't have to be for money. It could just be trading for community points. You know, Kafuzi has done 10 bike supports That'd be kind of fun. Oh yeah. Right, it's like a dog walking out, but they supervise you. Yeah. Richard Wilson says, I think that's called a high-paid coach. Okay, maybe I think you're right. We're reinventing coaching. Runtime, he says, we had that in 1990s cross country in Indiana. A dude/coach in a 1984 Toyota pickup that we used to get 8 miles away from the school and run back. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It could be fun. Andrew Scott says, you get Kofuzi bucks. You get Kofuzi bucks. Yeah, but that'd be kind of nice, you know. All right, let's talk a little bit about this Carbs brand fuel. This is the half guy. This is the shorty. I am gonna eat this on my workout today, but so far, last week I had the salty one, and I had the 125 milligrams caffeine one. And they are twice as big as this because they have twice as much sugar, 50 grams of sugar per. I did not like either of them. One, they were just too big. So carrying them around was a little bit awkward. I mean, they fit in my half-type pockets fine enough. But I can't imagine having 6. I had 2 of them on me. I can't imagine carrying 6 at a time. I guess I could carry less. And that would be more manageable, maybe. But it just felt like a lot. But more importantly, the flavor was gross. I just did not like the flavor at all. The caffeinated one tasted I think the flavor they were going, closest thing I could say would be like a lemon meringue is what it kind of tasted like. And it wasn't as thick as a goo, but it wasn't nearly as thin as a Science and Sport. It was thicker than a Huma. And it wasn't like a jelly, like a Martin. And then the salted one, that tasted gross. I did not like that at all. It was like someone put salt in a lemon meringue pie, and it was not good. I ate it and it was fine enough. But if I had to eat 3 more of those, let's say I brought 4 of those for a race, and I knew I had to eat 3 more of those, I would not be excited about that. Patrick says, I just tried the Carbs fuel on Saturday, also the shorty. Very liquidy, pretty good. Felt like a slight raspberry flavor. You think this is going to be raspberry in here? They don't, I guess it just says original, but it doesn't say what the flavor is. It's just a surprise for me to find out. But yeah. I'll try this shorty today too. I'll let you know if it tastes like raspberry. I did have the Precision Fuel one. I had a non-caffeinated one. That one was pretty good. I like it. I like the litter leash. So you pull it off and it's still, the top still stays attached. So you don't have to worry about that flying off and you're accidentally littering. Which I understand from triathlon and trail races can be a DQable offense. Even if you do it on accident. And so I felt like the size of the packet was good. It says it has 30 grams of carbs in it. It went down pretty smooth. In my mind, Precision Fuel and Hydration has like a pomegranate flavor. I don't know if it's actually that. But it's kind of like vaguely berry-ish. And I think I can't really place it. Maybe my palate's just not that great. But yeah, that's what I thought about that. But it was good. I'll probably try that one. I'll do the caffeinated one next, but not today. We'll see how it goes. So far it's been all right. I still kind of just prefer Science and Sport. My meniscus hurt says, you can hire a high school kid to follow you around in exchange for swag. I mean, I guess that would be okay. It wouldn't be it just seems like the main thing about it is just seems like a lot of organizing. Plus, I also just don't want to be collecting a bunch of high school kids' phone numbers and stuff to be able to do that. So if there were just some sort of app way to do it, that kind of separates a lot of that personal information. I think maybe that'd be better. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of swag that I could give away though. Yeah, I mean, I could trade. That's the thing is I could trade and be like, you do my workouts, I'll do yours, you know? Or I can film your workout. I don't know. Brian says, I do think a crewing idea would be a good one. A crewing app would be a good idea. We already do it low key for our significant others and friends. I've done it several times for my friends and they pay it back. I just think I need more in real life friends. I think that's really the answer to it. Frank says, our coach followed in a 79 Eldorado. Yeah, followed behind you, right? Because if he was in front, that'd be kicking up some fumes. I feel like that was leaded gas in a 79 Eldorado. Can you even get leaded gas anymore? What was the deal with leaded gas? I think I'm just young enough that I'm not familiar with leaded gas. I only know unleaded. Adam says, my high school cross country, 1970s, our coach would meet us with his pickup after our runs. When we got within 20 feet, he'd take off a quarter mile down the road and repeat. That's so mean. My cross-country coach, our freshman year in high school, would just drive us to the beach. That was about it. That's the only thing I remember in terms of getting driven around. I don't remember if our high school coach ever drove around and followed us on our runs. My high school coach, but when I graduated high school, I was in a different school, but he had an old Volkswagen station wagon. Remember those things? Those things were absolute tanks. He had one of those. And I have a lot of memories about that car. I've been in it a bunch of times. But I was also friends with the coach's son, who was also on the team. So maybe that's why I don't know. I don't remember why else we would have been in there. But I don't know if we ever got picked up. I don't know if we ever had auto support, Brian says, you know how drones can follow you for video shots? Imagine one that just trails you and drops gels in bottles every 5K. Can you imagine if there's a bunch of those on a trail, a very busy trail? I keep seeing all these people doing commercials for the Hover Air device. And one, I'm like, I really think that a lot of people are violating FAA rules by incorporating, especially if they're getting paid to make an ad for the Hover Air and they're not a licensed drone pilot. I think it's a very technical problem. Will this administration's FAA do anything about that? Probably not. I don't know. But one, I think those things are a problem. But like I see it a lot of times when people are like, yeah, I can run down my trail, and even though it's like tree covered, they knows how to avoid the trees. All that's great. But like I've done that with like a DJI drone in follow mode before. In a trail where there was like a canopy, and it definitely had bicycles when they would come by. When they would hear the drone, they would like all flinch, and I was super worried that I was going to make someone fall, because they were worried that even though the drone wasn't that close to them, the sound of it is loud enough that it could have been a problem. I don't know. Patrick says, the West Side Highway would be a mess if there was 500 drones above it every day. Can you? I don't think you're allowed to fly drones pretty much anywhere in Manhattan, are you? It's all restricted airspace, isn't it? Because of the helipad that's there. There's multiple helipads, and for security reasons, I don't know. But yes, imagine if there was a bunch of people in Hover Airs that also had payload capacity. Can you imagine if it dropped something? Well, where's it going to drop it for? If it drops it, like if you have to like pull it, snatch it, a little bit, tug it to get it out. That's one thing. But like, imagine if it's just like, whoop, hope you catch it. Like that. That could be really funny. Richard Wilson says, leaded gas had higher octane. It's all that was available for a really long time. Veritasium has a great video about it. Oh, I'll have to check that out. There's one gas station we pass all the time on the way to my in-laws' house. It's in Stockton, Illinois. And they advertise that they have race gas. I bet you that's leaded. And then Grandma Hobbs says, any updates on getting back into video games? Yeah, I think ultimately is... I would like to get into video games because I have been spending too much time on my phone. And I feel like this would be a nice way to kind of like take a break from real life that is actually rejuvenating, whereas taking a break from real life to be on my phone is often just exasperating. And part of me is like, well, I could do more around the house. I could do more just taking care of stuff that is on the long list of stuff that needs to be taken care of. But on the other hand, I have been looking at video games. Herm mentioned that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 is coming out soon. And some people mentioned get 1 and 2 now and then get 3 and 4 later. But I think I'd rather get 3 and 4. So I think I'm going to start with that. I'm going to get Tony Hawk 3 and 4 for the Switch because we already have a Switch. And then I've just been doing some YouTube searching. I've been looked at. A lot of people had really great comments. I commented the other day on what video games are people playing to relax. And a lot of people had good recommendations. And one of the ones that I would like every time someone would recommend something, I would look it up on YouTube. And now my YouTube algorithm is like feeding me stuff. And one game that got fed to me, I'd have to get a PlayStation 5 to get it. I don't want to build a gaming PC, but or buy a gaming PC. I just want to buy a console. So it's on PlayStation 5, and I've been looking at Helldivers 2. I feel like that one could be fun. I don't know why something where like you're getting attacked by stuff and have to like shoot things sounds relaxing. But some of the gameplay footage that I saw on it, there was this one dude that was like, I know it's like a campaign game where you play with your friends. He said, just play by yourself. It's harder, but like turn off all the HUD things. So there's like nothing on the screen except for like the gameplay and some of the scenery. And he's like, enjoy the scenery. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. The other thing, I saw this one game, which was just like driving a jalopy to some sort of post-apocalyptic desert. I'm like, I don't know why that sounds appealing. I think that's all the whole point of the game is you have to find a broken down car to escape. And you just try to drive as far as you can. And I was like, that sounds relaxing too. I don't know why. But we'll see. I think I'm going to start with Tony Hawk. Calvin says, Helldivers, that's not relaxing at all. I mean, I was thinking, we already have Fortnite on the Switch. I just never got super into Fortnite. But like Helldivers seems like maybe it could be. I don't know. Terry says, Helldivers 2 is great. Division 2 is the best looter shooter. Yeah. Brian says, you should stream if you plan on doing more gaming. I mean, maybe. I don't want to make it like another leisure activity that I've turned into a side hustle. I just want to be able to like play a game for a couple minutes. We bought FIFA a long time ago. Like FIFA 24, I guess it is. So it's not that long ago. I started playing that, but I'm like, it's not that interesting to me. So, Andrew says Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely incredible. A lot of people recommended that one. So I've been thinking about that one too. Yeah. Louis says, I had to clean an OG Xbox this weekend. My son is finding every Sonic game he can buy and got it working it. Oh, that sounds fun. Calvin says, Stardew, Animal Crossing, and Minecraft are our top 3 comfy gaming titles in my opinion. I never got into Animal Crossing or Minecraft. Although you would think Minecraft would be right up my alley, but I just never connected with it. Daniel Bryn says, when you have a house, there's always something to do. I know, like our yard is always a mess. And I've just given up on mowing. My wife does it, which is how it is with her mom's house too. Her mom does the mowing. And I keep hoping that my mother-in-law loves mowing the lawn. And I'm hoping that my wife will develop a similar affection for it. I don't think she likes it any more than I do, but I'm just not been doing it. I don't like mowing the lawn. And it's been so long that certain weeds got very, very tall. And it turns out those weeds were Queen Anne's lace, which is a flower that I actually like. But my wife has said that it's very invasive and it spreads like crazy. And I think my neighbors would be really pissed if I was the reason why there was like a Queen Anne's lace infestation. So we had to get rid of them. But in other news, we do have like a flower, like a planter box. It's bigger than a box. We have this area where we planted flowers by the front door. What do you call that? I don't know. And there's a bunch of daffodils in there. And daffodils are one of my favorite flowers. So I love those. And there's been some weeds in there that I've just been too lazy to pick. And now I'm like, well, what if it's like the Queen Anne's lace? And this ends up flowering into something pretty. Because I really love a lot of the native wildflowers to this region. So I'm like, oh, that would actually make for a nice mixture with the daffodils. And I don't know. Accidental things becoming accidentally pretty because I'm lazy would be the optimal solution. Alex says, I've been playing a lot of Farm Simulator too. You just drive tractors around. That sounds fun. I actually kind of would like that. I was thinking about like what would be an ideal like video game that I would like to play. And I was thinking, after a while, I think I'm just describing The Sims. But I was like, an ideal game that I would love to play would be like road camping trip, where it's like you drive for a little bit, maybe you go off-roading a little, then you have to set up a camp, find some firewood, make a fire, eat dinner, look at the star. You know what I mean? Like I just don't want to go camping, but I basically want camping, I think is what I'm saying. I don't know. Sean Devlin says like the HOA is about to roll up on Kofu. Yeah, I mean we didn't want to hire like a pesticide company to like spray our yard, but our dandelions got so out of control that we were definitely infecting the neighbors, and I felt really bad about it. So we had to do something about it. So we spray for mosquitoes, and we spray for weeds in the lawn. We had this other thing. It was like almost like a vine that grew on the ground, and it had these really cute little yellow flowers, but it would just strangle the grass. And it was taking over, and I would try and pick all that stuff out by the root, and it was really labor intensive and time consuming, and I never kept up on it. So yeah, I'm the guy. I'm the guy that's making everyone else's yards look bad. But then again, like behind my house, there's like a common area to the HOA. It's just wildflowers, so it's not all me, you know. All right. Some driving games. I do love Grand Theft Auto. I played Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, and 3 when those came out. And then after I think I played a little bit of Grand Theft Auto 4. I think after Grand Theft Auto 3, I'm like, these games are getting too big, and they didn't feel like manageable anymore. It just felt like overwhelming to try and approach them. But I don't know. Part of me is just like, I could just not do missions and like exist inside Grand Theft Auto. Like I remember one guy, I saw a video about one guy who had connected his Zwift, like hacked his Zwift, or his not Zwift, but his bike trainer to Grand Theft Auto, and so he could ride a bike around Grand Theft Auto. And I was like, that I could do that. I would like that. If there it's like ultra running simulator where I can connect like a Wahoo kicker to like a just running, having an avatar that runs around the wilderness. I would log a lot of miles on that. I think I would. I think I really just want more running, I guess. Okay. Brian says, okay, check out Outer Wilds. It's camping aesthetic with a space background, very therapeutic and homey. Okay. There we go. I'll go with that. I'll check that one out. Outer Wilds. I'm gonna put that in a search bar real quick. Sorry. Oh, I've seen that before. It looks very pretty. Yeah, I might have to get that. CV76 says, there are YouTube channels of dudes mowing the worst neighborhood lawns for free. I do like those videos. They're very satisfying to watch. Ours isn't that bad. I think the only reason ours isn't that bad is one. The main reason is because my wife picks up the slack where I'm lacking. I just lack any aptitude's not the right word. Ambition is the right word in terms of like home care and taking care of physical things. I'm not very good at that. Yeah, the other thing that saves us is that this house is pretty new. It's just rebuilt, like they made it on a subdivision. So there hasn't been a lot of time for nature to take over in this yard. But if I were a betting man, I'd bet on nature rather than me and my wife. Yeah. All right. Stephen Killian has a shoe question. Okay. All right. For travel, what's your typical go-tos? Can you get by with just one pair? You can get by with one pair if it's not hot. So if it's hot and you go for your run in the morning and you sweat and your shoes are then soggy, if you then have to walk in that shoe all day, even if the wetness doesn't bother you all that much, by the end of the day, your shoe is going to stink. It's going to smell really gross. And so like if it's hot, you definitely want at least two pairs. One can be your sweaty pair and one is like the one that you're wearing all day long. I'd say, so some of my favorites for travel, like Adidas Evo SL is high on the list. I think that the Nova Blast is high. I think Hyperion 3 could be a really good one for a lot of people, if not a Ghost Max. I think Ghost Max 1 I did a lot of traveling in, usually in winters, but I would run like 10 miles before the kids woke up. Well, they would wake up by the time I got back and they'd be like eating breakfast in the hotel room and then spend all day on my feet. So that was another good one. I'd say like shoes that I prefer I would kind of like emphasize the walking first though too. And so like a shoe that might be a little bit firm for my preferences for running, those will be better for walking. So depending on just how much walking you're going to do, like if it's a Disney World kind of trip, I probably won't pack the Evo SLs or the Nova Blast because they might be too soft. But the Ghost Max 3 would be great. So that's how I'd do it. I think I just reviewed the Velocity Nitro 4. That could be a really good one. Or Forever Run 2 might be even better because it's a little bit more firm. That's going to be better for a lot of walking. So that's how I'd go for it. Those are some. There's a lot, but yeah, those are some that I would call out. Graham says, I'd rather do anything else than mow the lawn in summer heat. I hear you. It was to the point where I was thinking about buying a riding mower for my one like quarter acre lot. And I was like, is that excessive? I wouldn't be the only one on the block. In fact, most of the dudes on the block have, no, I wouldn't say most. The youngest dudes on the block have riding mowers, it seems. The youngest, broiest dudes on the block do. Everyone else has either a push mower or they hire it out. And I've also thought about that too, because I was trying to do the math, because my wife looked into it. And it's like, a crew of guys can come by and do our entire yard in like 15 minutes. It'd be no sweat off their back, almost literally. And it wouldn't cost that much. And I'm like, all right, do that for every time I would have to, like, how many times would they have to come for me to make a riding mower make sense? And even then, I probably wouldn't like it. I'd be like, oh, I have to spend an hour sitting on this thing. So I don't know. I think maybe the answer is to hire it out. My daughter does it sometimes. She did it maybe 3 times last summer. I have mowed the lawn 0 times this summer. I think I mowed the lawn last summer once. I only think we mowed the lawn maybe 10 times last year. So it's not like I'm completely skipping out on stuff. But Calvin says, get a robot mower. I've floated the idea by my wife a couple of times, and we wouldn't be the only ones in the subdivision with a robot mower. Because that was my other concern. I'm like, I can't be like the Asian guy in the neighborhood and be the robot lawnmower guy. I can't do those two. That's unacceptable. So, but there is someone else that already has one. That person might be Asian too, though. Brian Lang says they're not that expensive though for the robot mowers. I know. So one thing is, you know where else has robot mowers? The Adidas campus. There are little Husqvarna robot mowers going all over the place. And every once in a while, they get stuck on something. Like they'll fall down like a little like mini ditch from the sidewalk to like to the grass. And I mean, no one touches them because it's like, will it start mowing again? Like, will the blade start spinning if I touch it? You know, I don't know. So everyone leaves it, but it always looks like a turtle that got tipped over, and you feel like you should help it out. It looks like it's in distress. And the other thing that I thought about was like, I don't know. I think my yard is just big enough that I don't think a robot mower could do it all in one go. I think it would have to stop and recharge itself. And so I feel like the robot mower would constantly be out. And like the lines would be really thin. You know how when you mow a lawn, there's like those stripes. I think the robot mowers are smaller, so there's a lot more stripes, and it looks very. I didn't like the look of it, so I don't know. Sean says, I feel like the neighborhood kids would just kidnap your robot mower and let it go wild. Well, it's geofenced and stuff. And one of the other robot mower, I noticed it because it had fallen off the curb and was like leaning against the curb and the road. So like no kids had bothered it then. So I don't think that's really an issue because it has GPS tracking and stuff on it. So you can't really steal them unless you know how to disable the GPS part. But yeah. And Brian says, robot mowers are actually constantly out. They only cut a little each time. Yeah. Calvin says, all this hand wringing and Co doesn't even mow it anyways is so real. I'm great at, I'll overthink any problem you want, Yeah. And Sean says, the only realistic option here is hardscape. I'm all for it, I love places like, my in-laws go to Arizona. I love Phoenix. I love places where like there's no grass. They just put stones out, or hardscaping. And like, I think that's great. That's the kind of maintenance that I need. Like gravel and succulents. Like that's what I need for a lawn, I guess. Yeah. All right. Let's end with this. We've been going a long time. Oh, guys, he says, just joined, might have missed it. How's the Speed 5 been? They've been great. I've been loving the Speed 5. I took them for a threshold workout today. They were great. I've been doing easy runs in them. They're fantastic. I think they've stiffened up a little bit from the Speed 4s. And I think that has been nice for me in terms of using it for workouts. The Speed 4 previously, I was like, this is good for easy running, but it's a little bit soft for running fast if I'm doing a big workout. I don't really feel that with the Speed 5. So I like it more. Maybe it's just I'm different this year than last year, but I'm really loving the Speed 5. I think it's fantastic. I'm annoyed that my review will be up tomorrow, but I'm annoyed that it's $5 more expensive. That's pretty annoying. But if you can get the Speed 4, there's only a couple of sizes, like a couple remaining in each size. But if you can find one, Speed 4 is on sale for $125. I'd say get that first, and then you get the Speed 5 later. But it's been great. I love it. It's going to be one of my favorite shoes of the year, I think. It can do pretty much everything. So it's a good one. All right. That's going to be it for today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, everybody, for cheering me on the 5K virtually and congratulating me afterwards. I appreciate the support. This weekend, I think we're back in Iowa, so I don't know if I'll be able to do another 5K race, but we'll see when there's another time for me to get one on the calendar. So I'll do another one soon. All right, guys. Endorphin Speed 5 video tomorrow, and then I will see you guys again on Thursday for another live stream. All right, until then, stay safe out there, everybody. Thanks.